Hello, I'm the Reverend Jude Peters, Vicar of St. Chad's with St. Mary's and St. Auckland's in beautiful Shrewsbury, England. And I'm sitting here in my garden and enjoying this lovely spring day. And I'd love to just spend some time with you in this Moments of Grace episode, speaking about trust. I think one of the hardest things about this disease and its impact has been the clarity it's brought to my own relationship with trust and who do I trust and why, and what methods and reasonings do I bring to understanding when I should place my trust in something or someone. So what I mean by that is that as a postmodern person growing up in and living in a post-industrial society in the U.S. in an enormous city in New York, I grew up believing that God had gifted and has gifted people with the ability to make really strong, sound decisions through reasoning and analysis. And I still believe that. And I'm proud of the important work being done to eradicate this disease and to bring a sense of hopefulness to us because I do believe that scientists will find a cure. At the same time, I think what this has revealed to me and perhaps to you is that maybe I've put a little too much trust in our human ability to overcome some of the greater realities. And what I mean by that is this. I really feel like this has laid open the reality that there are lots of things that no one knows. That even people who are experts on important scientific sort of avenues for investigating this issue are at a loss for how this will all play out ultimately. And that's really hard. And I really think that one of the difficult things is I don't know what to say to people when they are faced with incredible tragedies. I have colleagues and friends, especially back home in America, who are facing multiple deaths in their families. The death of their closest, most beloved person in the midst of a wave of deaths that sort of in one way kind of minimizes or in some way, I don't know, strangely exaggerates and changes how we deal with grief and loss and in a way that's hard to sort of quantify. So what's really hard about that is you don't feel like your grief is your own. But see, I think part of the challenge for me is who do I trust to bring us through this situation? And my faith tells me that I trust in God. And yet I find myself, running to sort of find out what's the next information on how many people died today, or is there any development on the trials in terms of finding a vaccine, and those are all really important things. But I have to ask myself, am I putting my trust in God? Am I trusting that the God of all life will help us through this? Am I going to news to just find out more information, or am I pinning my hopes on that? I'm reminded of why a wise person who went through a difficult time, a person who had an incredible public tragedy. In the midst of that tragedy unfolding, in the midst of great loss, great suffering, great indignity, this woman said, "Trust in the Lord and lean not into your own understanding." And if you know scripture, you know that that's from Proverbs 3. And I found that to be powerful because in my mind, that's always been sort of an overconfident scripture, like as if, my faith is so strong that I just trust in the Lord. But I read it differently. I heard it differently that day. I heard it as trust in the Lord when there is nothing else that you can do. When you don't have an answer, when human ends do not bring the hoped for outcome, we trust in the Lord. And that's kind of where I think a lot of us are today. Are we trusting in the Lord? Not because our faith is so strong and we're so faithful, but because God is really the last port of call. In a real sense, maybe this opens our eyes in a hard way to where we might be in our own faith journey. Maybe it's time to ask the questions. Can I lean on God and trust in God, even though I don't understand how this will all be resolved in a way that is hopeful? Can I trust that God will give me the words to say, or just the presence of mind to be present to those who are hurting? Can I trust that God will keep me, even if the reality of this is that in many ways, things and people I love, and perhaps even my own life, may not it may not turn out as I had hoped. In the real issues of life and death, we're facing that question of trust. And so I say with all my heart, not because I am overly confident, but because I believe that is the true place where we will find strength and hope. Trust in the Lord and lean not unto your own understanding, and trust that God is making new things that we can't even see right now, and that those things will be for the good, and that the God of love weeps with us as we weep for the losses, the human realities, and the tragedies of this illness. God bless you and keep you safe. And may our God, our great port of call in all things, shelter you through this storm. Amen.